Welcome to my channel. Emma sat at the kitchen table, staring at the steam rising from her untouched cup of tea. The house was silent except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. It was a familiar quiet, one she had once found comforting, but now it pressed against her like an invisible weight. She had always considered her marriage to Daniel stable, even enviable. They had built a life together, one filled with structure, shared dreams, and an understanding that ran deeper than words. But lately, that foundation had started to shift, almost imperceptibly at first. Small things. The way he lingered on his phone late at night, the way his eyes seemed to search for something beyond her when they sat across from each other. A notification buzzed on her phone, pulling her from her thoughts. She hesitated before picking it up, her pulse quickening as she recognized the name. Daniel. She unlocked the screen, expecting a message from her husband, but instead it was a payment confirmation from their shared account. A transaction, one she didn't recognize. A lump formed in her throat as she clicked on the details. Private lounge booking confirmed. Her heart pounded. Private lounge. She swallowed hard, her fingers trembling as she tapped through more notifications. Her hands moved before her mind could catch up, navigating through their bank records. This wasn't the first time he had made similar payments. The amounts varied, but the frequency painted an unsettling pattern. Emma's thoughts spiraled. The logical part of her mind urged restraint. Maybe it was work-related, maybe it was a surprise. But the gnawing unease in her stomach said otherwise. She wasn't the type to invade privacy, but something about this was different. It felt deliberate, hidden. That night, she lay beside Daniel in bed, listening to his steady breathing. She debated bringing it up, but the words never came. Instead, she turned onto her side, staring into the darkness, her mind replaying every moment from the past few months that had felt off. His sudden interest in dominance, his suggestive remarks about pushing boundaries, things she had laughed off, thinking they were nothing more than passing fantasies. But now she wasn't so sure. The following morning, as she poured coffee, Daniel entered the kitchen. He pressed a kiss to her temple, his hand lingering on her shoulder just a second too long. "You okay?" he asked, his voice smooth, unreadable. Emma forced a smile. "Yeah, just tired." He studied her for a moment before nodding. "Big plans today?" She hesitated. "Not really." Daniel reached for his own cup, his fingers brushing hers in a way that once would have sent warmth through her. Now it felt calculated. "I was thinking," he said casually, "we should do something different this weekend. Try something new." Emma's grip tightened around the mug. "Like what?" His eyes flickered with something she couldn't quite name. "Just an experience. Something we can explore together." She inhaled sharply, her mind instantly connecting the dots. This wasn't random. This was leading somewhere. "Daniel," she started, keeping her voice steady, "what is it that you really want?" A slow smile tugged at the corner of his lips. "Trust me, aEmma. You'll understand soon." She didn't respond. Couldn't. The walls of their home, once a place of security, now felt like they were closing in. She had always believed she knew her husband, understood the man she had chosen to build a life with. But now, for the first time, she wasn't so sure. That evening, when Daniel stepped into the shower, Emma picked up his phone from the nightstand. Her breath caught as she hesitated, her own reflection staring back at her from the dark screen. She had never felt the need to pry before, but tonight she did. With trembling fingers, she unlocked it. Messages. Group chat. 3 unfamiliar names. Her blood ran cold. "Daniel. Everything is set for this weekend. She'll be there." The words blurred as she read them again, her stomach twisting into knots. She felt as if the air had been sucked from the room, leaving her gasping. Who were these men? What had he arranged? The shower had stopped. She barely had time to close the phone and place it back before Daniel emerged, a towel slung around his waist. He caught her gaze, his expression unreadable. "You okay?" Emma forced a nod, swallowing the bile rising in her throat. Yeah. But inside she knew the truth. The life she thought she had was no longer hers. And whatever Daniel had planned, she wasn't ready for it. Yet it was already set in. Emma's hands trembled as she gripped the edge of the bathroom sink. Her reflection stared back at her, pale, wide-eyed, breath shallow. The weight of Daniel's message pressed against her chest like a leaden stone. She had always trusted him, always believed in their marriage. But this was something else entirely. She needed answers. Gathering herself, she returned to the bedroom. Daniel was already in bed, scrolling through his phone. His expression calm, detached. She hesitated before perching on the edge of the mattress. "Daniel," she said, forcing her voice to remain steady. "What's happening this weekend?" He didn't look up. "I told you. Something new." Her fingers curled into the sheets. "Be honest with me." Slow exhale. Finally, he set his phone down and met her gaze. "Emma, I want us to break free from limitations. To explore things. Together." She swallowed hard. "With strangers." His eyes darkened, an almost predatory gleam flickering through them. "Not strangers. People who understand. Who can help us discover more about ourselves." Emma's stomach twisted. "And what if I don't want that?" Daniel leaned in, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You will." A shiver ran through her spine. For the first time in their marriage, Emma felt like she was staring into the eyes of someone she no longer knew. The weekend arrived too soon. Emma sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window as the city lights blurred past. Daniel's hand rested casually on the wheel. His expression unreadable. The air between them was thick with tension, a silent battle raging beneath the surface. She could still hear his voice from the night before. "Trust me, aEmma. This will bring us closer." But all she felt was distance. As the car slowed before a sleek, nondescript building, her pulse spiked. The doors loomed ahead, promising answers she wasn't ready to face. And yet, Daniel was already stepping out, waiting for her to follow. There was no turning back now.